Alrighty. Well, good evening. Good, very late evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there's only two of y'all here, so one lady and or one other gentleman or one other lady. You don't even know what to call motherfuckers nowadays because it's 2023. Motherfuckers could be multiple things. All right, sounds good. All right, man. I didn't really want to do this shit this late. I ain't gonna hold you. Originally, I was planning on doing this around 9, 10 ish. I had a whole business, not business, company event thing I had to go to. It was cool, man. You know what I mean? I work with really nice, God fearing white people. You know what I mean? I work with some really nice, God fearing people, right? And they like to do these type of events because it helps co-workers bond with each other more and all that bullshit. But me, I just straight up would tell my boss if I could. I have never told him this, but I think he knows this. If I could just tell him one time, like, no, I appreciate it, but the check and the bonuses is enough for me to feel enough gratitude to show up Monday, bro. Y'all ain't gotta do all this shit. Just give me the money. The amount of money y'all spent for this little shindig, just give me a percentage of it, man. I'm good. I don't need, you know what I mean? I don't need that shit. But at the same time, sometimes when I'm at those spots, like those really nice balling ass places, I always feel out of place. Like I feel like I just don't belong there, even if I look like I belong. If I do myself up and shit and show up to that bitch, I don't feel like I belong there. For some reason, I just feel like I'm just out of place. Like I feel uncomfortable. Not that people can see it, but I feel it. You know what I mean? I just feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like I belong there. I feel pretentious as fuck. I don't dress like this, you know what I'm saying? Normally, the fuck. I have plenty of those clothes. I just never dress up like that. You know what I mean? You would catch me in a hoodie, you know what I'm saying? A beater on most of the time. Like I just don't. I show up for work like at the bottom level of where it's work appropriate. You know what I mean? I wear chucks to work and shit, and that's barely work appropriate, but that's just how I do. You know what I mean? But anyways, we're not here to talk about my work life and whatnot. We're here to talk about the Last of Us factions and its cancellation. All right. Now, would y'all be surprised to know that I am not surprised that it's canceled? I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. If y'all ever watch, the round table, right? There's four of y'all motherfuckers. I'm assuming all four of you motherfuckers watch it. But on the round table, I used to give Fatal a hard time about Starfield way back when Starfield hasn't came out yet, right? And Fatal was like, "Oh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna come out this year." I'm like, "Dog, it's definitely not coming out this year, right? It's definitely not." And Fatal was like, "Well, why would you say that? How would you know?" I was like, "Motherfucker, it's coming out in 6 months, and the only thing you've seen from it is a picture of a motherfucker sitting in a cockpit. What the fuck are you talking about?" The ramp up for fucking the ramp up for all the marketing and all that shit to get it popping takes at least 6 months. If it's coming out this year, if it comes out in 6 months, you'll see marketing for that bitch right now. Or you know what? I'll give you some leeway. In the next 3 months, if you don't see no motherfucking marketing for this bitch, it is not coming out this year, right? And year over year, right? Year over year, we hear about factions. And this picture that you see on my screen is the only thing y'all really know about factions. Is this random ass bitch here and the dude behind her. Now lately there's been screenshots of shit like start screens or whatever of some white girl sitting in a nice ass room. Like that room real nice for the apocalypse, right? And that's all realistically y'all know about this game, right? Which mean to me, I was like, it's not coming out. It's definitely not coming out. I don't see no gameplay of this bitch, right? I don't see no hype announcements for it. Announcements for it seem real fucking forced, right? The last time I remember hearing anything about this bitch, like really from Naughty Dog, really like that was Neil was talking about it, right? And it felt forced as fuck. And he came out and he showed this picture and he dipped. I could have swore I told OBJ these motherfuckers just This motherfucker just showed up and Starfield our ass and dipped. You know what I'm saying? That's all he showed us was the fucking picture of what would be the game. And that's it. And they dipped the fuck off, and that's all we heard from him since. And now it's canceled, right? But this whole time they've been hyping us. Now, me, when Factions was announced, when it was announced to be like a full-on game of its own, whether we paying for it or whether it's free to play or whether it's just free to motherfuckers who already bought The Last of Us 2, you know what I mean? All these questions was like swirling around, and I was just sitting back thinking to myself, and I think I told Thrash and Sick about this. What's up, Sick? That I don't think this motherfucker is going to be a free for PlayStation for motherfuckers that are already own The Last of Us. I don't think that's happening. I think this is a whole separate game on its own, right? That has a bunch of different modes, a bunch of ways for them to make money off of you, right? That's what I think this is. And you motherfuckers are gonna pay for it, including me. I'll pay for it. And the thing is, how do I put this? I love The Last of Us. I don't like The Last of Us. I love The Last of Us, part one and part two. And matter of fact, I love part two more than I love part one. The rest of y'all can suck a dick if y'all don't like it. That's just how I feel about the game, right? I love both games. I don't just like them. I love them. I think they are the best at narrative games, right? And I enjoy multiplayer games, but I do not enjoy games as a service games. You feel me? There's a big difference. There's a big difference in the two. Multiplayer games and games as a service are two very different things. But nowadays, it's hard to separate them because I feel like every multiplayer games is a games as a service game. Even Call of Duty nowadays is a game as a service games. And I don't know exactly what game, which Call of Duty started that shit, but I just remember Call of Duty start changing right before my eyes because it was basically the same game as far as how you interact with it. Now, the way you play the game may be a little bit different from game to game, but the way you interact with it it's been the same for many, many years, right? And all of a sudden, I start seeing Battle Pass and all this other shit, you know what I mean, that pops up on my screen, just random shit that it almost feel like just spam windows on your laptop or your desktop. And when you go to a website and you don't have no pop-up blockers and just random pop-ups and shit, that's how I start feeling about Call of Duty because it's slowly becoming a games as a service game. And I never enjoyed that type of model. Like I just can't get the reason why I play a lot of multiplayer because a lot of multiplayer a lot of times are really brain dead, you know? Like if you know what you're doing, you just go in there and you do it. And I use that as an escape from like really epic single player experiences, right? Sometimes if I play a single player experience game, that shit might have me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That shit might have me fucked up, and I have to like reel myself back to be able to play another single player game. Hopefully, just as good or better than the last one that I played, which is rare. It's really rare that you get like back to back to back really good single player games. You know what I mean? But sometime it happens, right? Like for instance, right? My game of the year that I completed was Liza P. Right? I love Liza P. I think if I had to put Spider-Man against Liza P, I would say I like Liza P better than Spider-Man. And I'm not saying Spider-Man is a bad game at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think some of the shit from Spider-Man could be better. You know what I mean? I didn't think the story in Spider-Man 2 was as good as 1, mainly because they was doing too much shit. They were just doing too much shit with the second one. You got all kinds of storylines, and I feel like the best storyline was the Miles and Lee's fucking story arc, right? I feel like that's was the strongest because I felt like Miles' resolve at the end of it. That's what makes you a hero. Because I could never be that dude, man. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we saved Pete, got back, I'd have choked this motherfucker. You must be out of your mind. You killed my dad, son. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't do it, but Miles could. And that's why he's a hero. That's why I'm not Spider-Man because I could not be that dude. I would choke that motherfucker out so quick. Y'all don't understand, right? So So I think that was the strongest storyline in the game for me, which is fucked up because Venom is in this bitch, and his storyline was the weakest in my opinion. They did Craven really well. I've never thought Craven was like up there as a villain, but they presented him well enough to be like, yeah, he a problem, right? But the Venom story arc was the weakest. Liza P, I don't know what it was, but that motherfucker had a hold on me. That's all I could play. I couldn't play nothing else. But once I completed the first time, I got the best ending. It was really hard for me to go back to it because I was like, so you telling me I gotta go back play two more times for the other two bullshit ending when I got the best one already. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know I got the best one. I just played through it, making decisions that I felt like I should make. You know what I mean? And somehow it got me to the best ending. As I understand, it's just really fucked up the way that game puts you in a situation where lying is the most human thing you could do. You know what I'm saying? It's really fucked up. I really appreciate that game. So once I completed it, I didn't know what to do, man. I couldn't start a new game right away. I couldn't go back to fucking. I mean, I couldn't go back to Liza P. It's kind of, I don't know. I couldn't go back to it just because I've already gotten the best ending. The only thing that would bring me back to it is the gameplay. The gameplay is fire. I think it's better than most FromSoft games. It's fucked up how good that motherfucking game is, right? Once I complete it, I didn't know what to do. And now usually I would, once I complete like something like that, something that had a hold of me for like weeks or months, I need to like play something brain dead like COD, right? Call of Duty multiplayer is brain dead for me. Like I just show up and do what I do. Like I just go to the fucking playlist, right? And I only take out a couple of shit. Like I don't do certain like three or four type of fucking games. I don't do on Call of Duty, but everything else I run. You know what I mean? Practically almost every multiplayer mode that you could think of in Call of Duty, I run. I want to say at least 80% of them motherfuckers, right? And that's how I come down from a really good single player games. I play COD, right? I go into to whatever mode it is. I do the objective and I murder you, and I would be always top three, son, always. And if I'm less than the first spot, I feel stupid. I feel like I ain't do shit. And that's not me bragging. Any dude who played Call of Duty for at least 5 games should feel that way. If you've been on Call of Duty since since as long as I have, since Call of Duty, like the first Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare from back in the day, to now, and you ain't feeling that way, you ain't shit at Call of Duty. I'm sorry, you are garbo. All right. If you've been playing as long as I have and you are not that good, you are garbage. You should stop. Which is funny because I've also stopped. I have not bought the new Call of Duty. So after Liza P, what could I do? I'm just sitting here like, goddamn. Because there's other fire ass fucking games that I haven't started because I just need to get in that mood again. I don't know why I'm like that. I'm just like that. I can't go from one crazy ass single player game to the next crazy ass single player game. Right? I can't do it. I need time to process what I just played. Because I try to give myself to the game. See, y'all motherfuckers, a lot of y'all motherfuckers, y'all say the silliest shit about games. You know what I mean? Y'all say it like y'all the main character. Like Mary Jane ain't hot enough, bitch. You ain't fucking her. Like, what are you? You know what I mean? That kind of shit. I never understood it. I've never even thought about that shit when I was playing the game. When I was playing it, I was like, oh, this bitch just got turned into, you know what I'm saying, Scream and shit. I wasn't thinking about this bitch not bad enough for Peter because I'm not Peter. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I don't get it. That's the whole thing with Peter Parker, Spider Man, and Miles Morales is Miles Morales, and I'm like, motherfucker, it don't matter because you not neither one of them motherfuckers. Why are you? I'm getting to that stone. Goddamn. That's what I'm saying. I can't go from one crazy ass game to another crazy ass game. I need time in between to, you know what I mean? To relax, to like collect myself so I could play the next crazy ass game. And from what I understand, Tale's story is supposed to be crazy, right? So I'm a work myself to it. I'm just not ready. But that's what I'm saying is that's what I use multiplayer for. Like a lot of multiplayer games are brain dead if you're good at them. Like if you played them long enough to where you just got used to it, or you just good at them, right? And I'm good at a couple of multiplayer games. I wish they would bring Titanfall back. I love Titanfall. Titanfall is the shit. It's the only shooter, like first person shooter game that I still like feel exhilarated by. Like Call of Duty or Battlefield, it's just paint by numbers, man. I just know what I'm doing, so I just do it. You feel me? Like there's no what's up, Muhammad? You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is for me, right? So after Liza P, I basically finished everything in Spider-Man 2 because that's what I use to like chill out now. Because usually I would go to Call of Duty, but I did not buy the newest Call of Duty. You ain't gonna have me fucking. I don't know if they changed this policy, but the last thing I heard about that in the newest Call of Duty is you have to do like daily or weekly things to keep your perks, to keep your kill streak rewards, which aren't even kill streak rewards anymore. I think they points rewards or some shit, which is some pussyfied shit, man. You know what's the most pussyfied shit I think that happened to Call of Duty? It's actually my my slow fucking uh walk away from Call of Duty actually started this moment happen when they took away knife as the default fucking melee off of Call of Duty. And if you don't play Call of Duty, you just don't understand. When they took that away, I felt like a large portion of the game just got taken away from me because that's one of the funnest thing to me in Call of Duty, like any type of Call of Duty, right? Whether you playing team deathmatch, free for all, capture the flag, whatever the fuck you playing, right? One of the funnest thing in my opinion in Call of Duty is when you and one other dude, right? Y'all literally just run up into each other in a small ass room, right? Y'all just run up and y'all just see each other and you're like a couple feet away. And then you start doing that gun and knife dance. You know what I'm saying? You shoot him, and he was able to dodge that shit because he knows what he's doing, right? He dodged left, and now he's trying to knife you, so you back up, right? And he missed with the knife, so now that he missed with the knife, you jump in and try to knife him. And that shit could go on for about 5 seconds, but that 5 seconds feel like 3 hours between two motherfuckers that's just trying to knife and shoot each other. And the moment they took that melee knife away, I was like, man, some pussified shit, right? And then motherfuckers try to be like, oh no, man, no, you can still equip that. No, no, everybody should have that. Everybody should have knife melee immediately. Make everybody a problem. You know what I'm saying? Make everybody a problem. Like I some of the most fucking hypest game moments is when you was doing that. When you in a room with three motherfuckers and you able to knife two of them and shoot the last one, right? Don't let that be a final kill cam too. That should be crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm always like I do enjoy that kind of shit. It's mindless fun. You know what I mean? Hopping there for 3-4 hours straight and just fucking murder motherfuckers, right? And not think about shit because my mind's still filled with the stories and the plot and the lore of this previous game I just played, and I'm trying to process all that. But I don't want to stop gaming, you know what I mean? So that's how I do it. But I didn't buy the newest Call of Duty, so what I did was I went on Spider-Man 2 and just swung around, glide around, and do all the little shit, right? And the fucked up part is I did everything. And I'm like, well, shit. It got real boring once you no longer have a destination to swing to, and then you're just like swinging. You know what I mean? All the mechanics and all that stuff is still all cool, but that's all you're doing. You're just swinging. So I have a platinum in Spider-Man 2 that I did not try to get. I just ran out of things to do, so I just find things to do, and I got a platinum for it. I was not trying to get it. Trust me, I am not a platinum chaser. I have 3 platinums, all by accident. So it ain't really something to brag about. I don't chase platinums at all. But I did so much shit in Spider-Man that I got the platinum for it. You know what I mean? And then at that point, I'm like, all right, now I'm really done because Jesus, I got the platinum for this motherfucker. You know what I mean? So then what, right? And that's how I feel about just modern day multiplayer because those shit are no longer really a thing because everything seems like it's games as a service now. Practically when you name a multiplayer game, it feels like you just named a game as a service game because how many true multiplayer games there is nowadays, right? And why does that matter? I'll bring up why it mattered here in a second. Y'all gotta remember the first factions, right? Y'all remember where that came from? That came from the first the first The Last of Us, the original on PS3. And I think it came out a little bit later than the actual game itself. I think the game came out first and Factions came out later. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the case, right? So the reason why Factions even existed is because it came out in the era where every game should have some kind of fucking multiplayer. Y'all remember that era, the 360 and PS3 era, where every game, no matter how ridiculous, nonsensical it is to even have a multiplayer game, it has it. Because y'all think motherfuckers nowadays who say, "Oh, it was one and done. I could get 100 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours in this multiplayer game," right? Y'all think that started this generation or last generation? No, that started 3 generations ago during the 360 and PS3 era. That's why Factions even existed because it didn't need to exist. No one bought Call of like not Call of Duty. No one bought The Last of Us. Be like, I can't wait to get hop on this Factions, man. That multiplayer is the shit. No, The Last of Us was the reason why you bought the game. Factions just that icing on the cake. And did I play it? Yeah, I played it. Did I enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoyed it. But I wasn't tripping that Factions 2 wasn't coming with with The Last of Us 2, right? Because I didn't buy The Last of Us 1 for Factions. I didn't. I bought it for the story, the whole game. And the game was riveting. All right. It set standards throughout the industry. Motherfuckers could hate as much as you want, but I see so many fucking games that is inspired by that bitch. Even the funniest shit is a lot of motherfuckers always bring up Capcom this, Capcom that, and they don't really know Capcom like that. And I'm like, do you know how much The Last of Us has influenced fucking a lot of Capcom games? Even Call of Duty. Have y'all played some of the new Call of Duty some of the new Call of Duty campaigns or lack thereof, right? A lot of that shit feel very The Last of Us esque. First person Last of Us. This is basically what Call of Duty, like all the campaigns feel like, the last 2-3 campaigns. You know what I mean? The way it's framed, the way you interact with it and shit. It's really Last of Us feeling. Even you know what I'm saying, Resident Evil and all that shit is a big deal. And that's why Factions 1, the original Faction, came out. It just came out during the era where every game has multiplayer. Every game. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter. Like, it just has multiplayer. Because that was the era when multiplayer became possible. And slowly, people demanded multiplayer. And that's why Factions was a thing. And nowadays, there are a lot of people who are fans of Factions, and that's why when they announce that Faction is going to be its own game that's going to have all this other shit, right, and it's going to be a games as a service, I didn't call it a waste of time because it's not in my place to say. Because like I said, man, I don't fuck with Factions like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't fuck with it heavy like that. I fucks with The Last of Us, the story, not so much the multiplayer. Even though the multiplayer is enjoyable, and I will fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with it after I finished the fucking storyline because I needed, that time to play a multiplayer game and escape from, well, not escape, but process the latest game I just played. You know what I mean? So I fucks with it. But nowadays, there's people who actually is looking forward to the next Factions, and it's not even full blown crazy games as a service Factions that they was trying to do, just the traditional Factions. But they didn't get that, right? They didn't get that, so you know, whatever. They was like, you know what? We'll create an even crazier Factions for you, full blown, like full its own game, yada yada yada. And no one asked for that shit. I didn't ask for it. I know y'all didn't ask for it. And y'all look at me like, wait a minute, didn't you just say there's a lot of people that are fans of Factions? Yeah, but they didn't ask for no crazy games as a service, you know what I'm saying? Yada yada yada. They would have been fine if you just did Factions and upgraded a little. You know what I mean? Give it a couple new, shiny toys or whatever. You didn't have to go full blown like that. No one was asking that shit. But I feel bad for the people who was looking out for it. think about this shit, right? Think about this. I can't call it a waste of time because I wasn't asking for it. But to a motherfucker who loved that shit, couldn't wait. Super hype. I seen motherfuckers that super hype for that shit, right? And that's a terrible letdown for them. But me, I kind of knew better. I knew it's not gonna happen. Mainly because I mean I say it a million times, but I in marketing and it just doesn't line up. It just doesn't make sense. You can't you can't just say a game is coming without showing the people that what's coming. You know what I mean? That's how I knew Starfield wasn't coming out the year they said it would. It's not because I was hating. You know what I mean? Fatal at the time, and some of y'all might have felt that way. What's up, D Truth? You know what I'm saying? Y'all might have thought that I was hating. I wasn't hating. I was just looking at what is in front of us. I knew it wasn't coming. Factions was the same way. All we saw was, you know what I'm saying, this bitch and motherfucker behind it. And that's it. That's all we know about this fucking game. I knew it wasn't coming. But you know what I am upset about? And yes, I am upset about it. What's up, Cyber Dragon? I am upset about how they broke the news to motherfuckers. Because first of all, like I said, there's plenty of people that's looking out for this shit, super hyped for this shit, and me, I'm just lukewarm with it. Like I'll fuck with it, like even if it's $70, but all the modes are cool or whatever, and you know what I mean. If there is some kind of story structure to it, I might fuck with it. I'm not crazy into it, but I'll fuck with it. You know what I mean? I'm just lukewarm with it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that's out in the stratosphere, and when it comes out, I might just cop it if there's not too much other crazy shit that's happening. You know what I mean? So the way they broke the news to me, I was like, "There's no way motherfuckers believe this." And I caught a little bit of Six podcast this morning too. I was listening while I was at work, right? It was talking about Blade and shit, which is hilarious. I might get to Blade here in just a second. I usually don't talk about Xbox shit because there's nothing about Xbox that excite me. But Blade, maybe I'll talk about it just because. Not so much as an Xbox game, but I do like the character of Blades, and y'all motherfucker don't know Blade at all, apparently. Jesus. Which is understandable because he's as is he more popular than Shang-Chi, or is him and Shang-Chi like probably the same level, which is fucked up because I really don't know much about Shang-Chi at all. You would think, you know, I would know a lot about Shang-Chi, but I don't. That's not representing me. I'm motherfucking Chinese. I'm not Chinese. I don't know shit about Shang-Chi like that. I know a couple of things about Shang-Chi. I know the story, his original story ain't like the movie at all, at all. It's not even close. His original shit is racist as fuck, son. Like, it's crazy racist, and that's why they couldn't do it for the movies, which I get. But I was like, man, why don't you throw a little bit in there just so I had some shit to say about this movie? You know what I mean? The movie was just decent. It was a little bit better than decent. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's a whole nother thing. We on factions right now, right? I knew faction wasn't coming out just because we just don't have information on it. If you put out a game, you would want motherfuckers to buy it. You would want to tell motherfuckers enough information to tickle their fancy and have them buy the motherfucking game. You know what I mean? Or if it's a free game, you want them to know about it so they can hop on, right? That's constant month over month worth of marketing leading up to something. And if you don't see nothing at all, it's very concerning. The same way, with Starfield. That's how I knew Starfield wasn't coming out the year it's coming, and they said it was going to come out. And I knew factions wasn't a thing, at least anywhere soon, because we don't see nothing about it. But the way Neil Druckmann or whoever the fuck, I need to read that shit one more time. But I think it is Neil Druckmann that said. So I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Y'all could read the whole damn thing yourself, but I am not reading that shit to y'all. All right. It basically shakes down to this, right? Hey, so listen, we ain't had no problem building factions. That's not a problem. We just got close to the end and we was like, damn. So once we put this bitch out there, we gotta keep on making content for this bitch, and we can't do single player games no more. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's in a nutshell. That's basically what they said, right? Holy shit, there's 14 of y'all in here. Yeah, one of y'all, there's 14 of y'all in here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure one of y'all have read it already. But is that not, in a nutshell, what the fuck they said? Is that, hey, we ain't have no problem building this game or even selling it to you. It's just once we start sell it to you, then we have to keep on making content for this bitch. And we realize that we can never go back to single player games development because we'll stay on top of this shit forever. Right? That's as y'all understand, that's what they said, right? Now I'm assuming every motherfucker that listen to me is grown because if you're not grown, you shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I clicked. It's not for children. It's not for kids. So I mean, you shouldn't be here. I'm sure everybody that's listening to me is grown. Do y'all believe that shit? I don't care what your background is. You could be CEO level, COO level, CFO level. You know what I mean? Or you could work at a shoe store. I don't give a shit. I'm asking you as one grown adult to another. Do you believe that shit? You must be out your fucking mind to think I would believe that nonsense. Let me tell you why, right? Would you believe, all right? Would you believe a company went into a venture such as games as a service and it's been years. How many years? When did The Last of Us 2 came out? The Last of Us 2 came out like 3 years ago, 2020, right? Am I off? Or is that about right? Is it 2020 or is it 2019? It's not 19, is it? PS5 came. It came out before the PS5. It's a PS4 game. PS5 is 3 years old. It has to be at least 4 years old in this case, right? Factions was in development before that game was released. So they worked on this motherfucker for at least 5 years. At least. You mean to tell me you as a company, whether it's Naughty Dog or Sony, never thought about that? You never thought the fact that when you make games as a service, you have to treat it like a service and continually put shit on it? You just came to the realization of that now? 5 years deep at least? It's probably a lot more than five. It's probably like 7 years, which is crazy, right? You just came to the realization that you can't do that within the last 5 to 7 years of you working on this bitch. You didn't realize, oh shit, hey, we gotta continually put shit on this bitch, right? You didn't have no plan in place for it. You just now thought, oh shit, we can't do both. There's no way. There's no way. That conversation would have been had the moment you said, hey, let's do some games as a service games. Now, it could be that the mandate was, by Sony. Sony's like, hey, Naughty Dog, listen, you gonna need you motherfuckers to do some games as a service games. And Naughty Dog motherfuckers are like, all right, bet. Well, we gotta make some games as a service games, right? You would think that's the case. But that's not the case at all. Because there's this ongoing fucking there's a lot of shit. It's not just a random mandate and that's what happens. No, there's a lot of back and forth, right? In those early years of development, you would know. You would be like, hey dog, I don't think we could do it. You would have known that 5, 6 years ago. You feel me? There's no way. There's no way you would know. You didn't realize that shit until now. Or has it been in discussion since 5, 6 years ago until now, and then the discussions got to the point where you're like, you know what, we can't do it. And I don't think that's the case. I don't at all. And people will point to Rockstar, right? I think OBJ did this morning when he was on Six Podcast, because I listened to probably a solid 40 minutes of that shit, right? And then I had to hop off because I had to hop on a call real quick, right? But people point to Rockstar and said, okay, because they got so much money from GTA 5, GTA 6 would take forever. And Though I agree with that, I don't know if that's all that really matters. You know what I mean? I don't think that's all that matters because building GTA 6 is an event, bro. GTA 6 is an event. It's not just your basic shit, right? There's a lot that comes in with creating GTA 6. You gotta come up with the story, the character, right? Every GTA is practically a brand new GTA, right? You don't continue a story. There is lore that's, connected. It's all in one universe, right? But the story that they craft and the characters that they craft, and also, it's a very witty game. I may not like the controls of that, of any GTA game. I think GTA has the worst controls of any game. But the amount of detail and the amount of care they put into the game is crazy, right? It's literally just satire of America, and it's so good. That's why y'all start picking up on all these memes from their fucking trailers. You know what I mean? It's satire, and it's really good satire too. It takes a lot of work to figure all that shit out and to put it into motion as a game as well as they could do it, right? That takes many years. Does it take that many years? No. So a portion of it is, yeah, damn, we making a lot of money off of GTA 5. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we could chill, but it doesn't mean they couldn't make the game sooner. You know what I mean? They had that. Did they plan on that? Did they plan for GTA 5 to make them that type of money? Or they just lucked out and hit that, right? Because GTA, it's not like GTA 5 didn't come out with a multiplayer mode, right? And then it took years. Well, no, it came out roughly at the same time, if not the same time. I don't even remember. It's been so many years, right? I mean, you can create a brand new GTA, but it'll take time. Just like creating a brand new The Last of Us would take time. The Last of Us 3 should take a decent amount of time. Figure all that shit out, then put it into a disc and let me play it. You know what I mean? It's gonna take quite some time. But Factions, I don't think it takes as much time. Not 5 to 7 years, it doesn't. So it's going through whatever it is. And quite honestly, I don't know if it's development hell, like they just can't figure it out. But what I say is, and this is all just conjecture. I don't really know, but the way I see it is, I think they just don't know how to profit off of it. Because that's the whole point of games as a service. It's built to like bleed you out. You know what I mean? It's just leech money off of you. And I don't think they know how to do that. I think that's why they was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just go back to single player games. It's because they just don't know the business aspect of it. They just don't understand how to do that. I feel like that's the case. I don't know if that's the case, but I feel like that's the case. I feel like they just don't know. What up, Reese, man? I think they just don't know how to capitalize off of Factions. I don't think it has anything to do with not being able to develop it. I'm sure they could. What's up, Lionel? Right? I'm sure they could. I'm sure they could build the game, no problem. I'm sure they could year over year put content on it. It's not an issue. I don't think that's an issue at all. And you must be out your goddamn mind to think that I would believe that that's the issue. How could that be an issue? It took you like 5 to 7 years to realize that you couldn't do it. There's no way. There's just no way. Like, if you tell me that as someone who, like, not so much a customer, but someone who invests in your company, I would look at you like you out your goddamn mind, boy. Is you crazy? You know what I'm saying? Is you crazy? You didn't plan on none of this in the beginning. You didn't plot anything out. You didn't know that you got to put more fucking content on this bitch later. And now you just came to the realization that you can't? Like, what are you saying? There's no way, right? And I forgot what Six said he thought it was. I think he thought it was because, Jim Ryan's on his way out, new management's coming in, and it's either him or somebody on the podcast said that. It was like, no, no, son. cut this bullshit out. That's Jim Ryan shit. That's not my shit. We cutting all this games. This is. I don't think that's the case because getting the bag is getting the bag, and Sony's the company at the end of the day. Look, I like their product, but they're a business at the end of the day. They want to make money off of me, and I understand that. What's fair is fair. Like I give you the money, you give me the game, right? What's fair is fair. So I don't trip off of that. But they're a business still. Like getting to the bag is what they do. You know what I'm saying? Getting to the bag is what they do. And I'm all for it. Matter of fact, because I'm a businessman and getting to the bag is what I do at work. Like I might be very friendly to my clients and shit, but bro, I'm friendly to you because you're getting me paid, bro. Like at the end of the day, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Right? That's just what it is, and it's all right. But what I will say is, I just don't think they can profit off it. They just don't know how. I don't think they've worked out a system to where they can profit off of it. You remember back when Todd Howard said they're trying to figure out how to make Starfield fun. Like, you remember that shit? Well, Naughty Dog has been trying to figure out how to make factions lucrative. I don't think they know how to do that. I think that's why they scrapped it. And that's also why they went from 12, I think, or is it 20, whatever the fuck amount it is, down to like 6 or 7 amount of games as a service games that they're trying to get to. Because like I said, man, I get it. Get to the bag. You know what I'm saying? I get it. And I don't think they would about face on games as a service because we have to continue to make content for it and we wouldn't be able to make content for our single player shit. Bullshit. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that shit. You know what I mean? I don't believe it mainly because studios have multiple teams, right? Especially a studio the size of Naughty Dog. There's just no way you would have known about this and set up fucking teams to take care of it. Small teams. It doesn't have to be big teams because it's not that they're building a brand new game. They're just adding to what's already there, slowly, month over month, year over year, just more content slowly. You don't need a whole massive team to do that. You don't need all of Naughty Dog to do that to where you can't do no single player games no more. I just don't believe that shit for nothing, boy. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe none of that shit. I mean, Capcom has failed at it too, but they didn't fail at it because they couldn't continually put fucking content. It's just their multiplayer, the shit they tried to implement was trash. You know what I'm saying? It was trash. I don't even think that's the case with factions. I think what they put together was probably good. I mean, they Naughty Dog. I mean, Faction 1 was good. Why wouldn't Faction 2 be good? You know what I mean? So I don't even think it's the content itself. I really think they just don't know how to profit off of that bitch. And that's the bottom line. And the reason why Factions 1 mattered was it came out during an era where every fucking game has multiplayer. But nowadays, it doesn't need to be. I feel like I feel really strong about this too. Games could just be a single player games didn't like it didn't become a thing like single player plus multiplayer wasn't a thing until the PS3 360 era because in that era it was possible. Before it, single player games are single player games. There might be some co-op bullshit, but that you co-oping with the motherfucker sitting right next to you. There's barely much online shit. It become a whole multiplayer thing once PS3 and 360 hit the market. You know what I mean? Because the capacity is there, and because the capacity is there, every motherfucker's asked for it. And for whatever reason, if a game doesn't have a multiplayer mode, some motherfuckers don't even touch it. That's why Ninja Gaiden of all games have multiplayer mode, multiplayer co-op and shit. For what? So you know what I mean? For what? But it had it because it came out during the era where everything had some kind of multiplayer. Nowadays, it doesn't require that. Nowadays, there's very fine distinction. You know what I mean? And I would still gladly pay $60, $70 just for the single player experience alone because shit, that's what I did for The Last of Us One. I didn't even know it had factions until I played through the shit. You know what's crazy? Uncharted has a multiplayer too, right? And I actually enjoy Uncharted multiplayer more. And the craziest part is I had no idea it had it until like a year afterwards. And there's still plenty of motherfuckers that played on it. Well, that's what I'm saying. The truth. That's all motherfuckers was looking for was to just get factions remade or remastered or whatever, right? Motherfuckers that enjoy, you know what I'm saying, factions, that's all they wanted. Just more of factions. They never asked for none of this games as a service shit or any of that, right? But I think that's why it was canceled, is because Sony and or Naughty Dog just don't know how to profit off of games as a service. It has nothing to do with not being able to make content for it. I don't believe that shit. It took you 5 to 7 years to realize that shit. That should be one of the first conversations. What's the game plan for this shit? How long are we keeping it live for? Yada yada yada. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Halo couldn't last the 10 years, right? Halo couldn't last the 10 years, but they had a 10-year plan. Think about that shit. Whether the 10-year happened or not, it doesn't matter. They had a plan for 10 years. You telling me Naughty Dog never had a plan for 10 years or at least 2 to 5 years? Are you kidding me? And I'm talking about 2 to 5 years after Factions released, right? Say in a universe where it did release, are you telling me you didn't have no plans afterwards? You would have to have plans afterwards, and then you would already know, hey, if we have plans to do this content at the end of the first year release or the end of the second year, however they do it, right? You would start to figure out, all right, well, the type of manpower, well, I'm sorry, what type of work hour and people in place for those work hours. You can't be saying manpower nowadays. It's very sexist, apparently. You know what I mean? What amount of hours and work do we need to make that happen? How many people do we need to put in an office to make this shit happen, right? You would have these conversations way in advance. You don't have that conversation 5 to 7 years into development. By the way, 5 to 7 years of development time is insane. It's insane for a multiplayer game, for a games as a service game, and y'all didn't realize that shit was in trouble. No, I stayed quiet about it because, like I said, there's people who are hyped, and I was like crossing my fingers, hoping shit's cool for y'all. But I was just sitting back like, man, that shit ain't coming out, or at least not anytime soon. We ain't got shit for it. And the last time we got anything from it, Neil Druckmann just showed up at the motherfucker awards and just dropped this shit like Starfield, just dropped this picture on us and dipped. And that's all we got from that motherfucker. And you think this shit's coming out? You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there thinking about it, like, well, if it hasn't come out yet, and this bitch has been in development for at least 5 years, you know what I mean? God of War was made in 5 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like, I just started connecting the dots. And when they, like I said, when they announced that it was canceled, I was not surprised. But it did kind of upset me. And what upset me was just what they said. I'm like, dog, you gotta lie better than that. All right, you gotta do PR better than that, because there ain't no way. The fuck you mean you realize you can't both make content for this shit and do single player? You didn't realize that from the go, like from 6 7 years ago when this shit gets put into production? You didn't have a time frame of anything. Like, you didn't have a, I know COVID has something to do with it, but still, come on, man. What world do we live in where y'all didn't have like a plan for this motherfucker from the go? It was something special, all right, Lionel. It's something special, all right, boy. Like, think about that shit. Think about that shit, right? This motherfucker's been in development since The Last of Us 2 was in development. Maybe a little bit later, but not too much later. And The Last of Us came out during the Last of Us 2 came out during the PS4 era. It didn't come out during PS5. It came out in PS4, which means it's at least 4 years old. Which means it was developed for at least another 5 years before that. Which means technically, from the moment The Last of Us 2 was in development to now, it's roughly 9 to 10 years already. Which in that 9 to 10 years, factions got to be at the beginning half of it. You know what I mean? At least 7 years. That's nuts. That's nuts. At least 7 years of development, and you're like, oh, we can't do it, man. Because who's gonna make these single player games if we keep making content for this shit? You know what I'm saying? There's no way. I think truly, Bungie. I don't think that Bungie shit. I don't believe in that rumor. I don't think Bungie had anything to do with like Kochbosh and factions. I don't believe that because let's be real now, Bungie. And I don't like to talk about Bungie because I don't really know much of Bungie. I don't fuck with no Bungie shit. I don't play Halo or Destiny. No hate. I just don't play it. I just don't. Well, Halo maybe a little hate. Fuck Halo. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Destiny, I've never played Destiny. I don't give a fuck. Like, and no hate on Destiny. If y'all like Destiny, y'all like Destiny. I just never got into it. So that's why y'all never hear me talk about Bungie. I don't know Bungie. But what I will say is I don't think Bungie has that kind of sway to be telling motherfuckers like, hey, I don't think that faction is gonna be like that. You know what I mean? I don't believe that shit. I truly believe whether it's Sony or Naughty Dog themselves just can't figure out a way to profit off of games as services. That's what I believe. As a matter of fact, at this point, lowering it down to 6 really proved the facts that they don't. Because first of all, if you know anything about games as a service, you really shouldn't be as a publisher shouldn't be having that many in the first place. Just imagine the amount of management you have to like stay on top of. Like, let's say all 6 are successful. Just imagine that shit. You would need a whole division just dedicated to all that shit, which I'm sure they would implement, but I just don't see it. I don't see them knowing how to profit off of these games as a service games, and that's why they kosh the whole thing. They were like, fuck it, let's just go back to single player. We know how to get paid off of that. Just make a good ass game. You know what I'm saying? Advertise it and have motherfuckers buy it. We can make money off of that. DLCs, remakes. They real good at making money off of remakes or remasters. Trust me, I'm a victim. I bought fucking Last of Us 2 remaster and remake. I mean, The Last of Us 1 remaster and remake. I bought one Last of Us per generation. I bought the remaster on PS4. I bought the remake on PS5. You know what I'm saying? I bought the original on PS3. I appreciate it, but those side, nah, man, you need 1,000 sub for that. I'm not even close, son. I'm surprised I have 296. I left for like a whole year. I came back to 296. Well, a little bit less than that, but now I'm at 296 again, which is crazy. And I'm trying to get better, y'all. My bad. We'll do a real not round table. Goddamn. We'll do a real win in hand this Sunday. I prefer to do it Sunday because Sunday is the day I have the most energy. This Friday, man, I had a long day. I had work all day. I had to go to the little company function. That's why I'm doing this shit so late. I would prefer to do this like 3 hours ago, like 3 hours earlier than I was supposed to. You know what I mean? But hey, that's 21, 22 of y'all here, and that's 3 likes. Word. Or maybe I just need to refresh that shit. I don't even trip about likes like that. I'm like, but damn, that's a crazy ratio, man. Oh shit, it's actually 20. My bad, dog. I thought it was starting to look like the PlayStation versus Xbox sales. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. You feel me, the truth? Like I bought all four. I bought all of it. I bought the original on PS3. I bought the remaster on PS4, and I bought the remake on PS5. Like they good at getting my money off of that. Why? Because like I said, man, I love The Last of Us. I love the story of that shit. I love the characters, and I love it when old girl, you know what I'm saying, Abby bashed dude's head in. Motherfuckers like highly upset about it. I'm like, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? I'm just watching it like that's wild because I'm not one of the characters in the game. I just live it through them. I just see the shit that unfolds, and does it give me all the emotions that it's supposed to give me? Yeah, it does. Because I was hating on this brolic ass bitch when she killed him, but throughout the story, I get it. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. It's the old brolic ass bitches murdered the homie, but yeah, of course you could understand. Like, yeah, of course she would. So would I, motherfucker. Like, who the fuck is you? You a stranger to me, and you killed my father, son. That's why I told you I couldn't be Miles. You know what I mean? I couldn't be Miles because as soon as they saved Peter, got back to the real world, I would choke Lee to death immediately. Motherfucker, you killed my dad. You know what I'm saying? No, I couldn't. I could never be a superhero. I am not that selfless. You know what I'm saying? The closest thing I'll be to a superhero is one of them motherfuckers off the boys, right? I'll be one of them. I promise you, I would be one of them motherfuckers. I would laser every one of you motherfuckers. You better sit the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I couldn't do it, but that's why I enjoy it. I respect these characters for what they do, what they are, what they represent and shit. You know what I mean? I just know that I'm not. Like boy, I would Punisher most of you motherfuckers. Like, if I was in a comic book world and I was capable of some wild shit, I probably would be like somewhat like a Punisher. I wouldn't be no Daredevil. I promise you. Like it's just not in me. Like this motherfucker really said it's not in him to forgive, but he gonna let the hate go. I'm like, dog, nah. I would choke this motherfucker while electrocuting his fucking neck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, son, get out of here. And no one's gonna know about it. The whole fucking city's run rampant with fucking symbiotic fucking creatures and shit. You know what I'm saying? They not. No one's gonna notice me choking the shit out of your Chinese ass. Fuck out of here. Ain't no way. But anyways, like I was saying, like factions, that's just what it is to me. I feel like they don't know how to profit off of it, and the last six games as a service game they focus on probably ain't gonna work out too well. And I think it's more of a Sony issue than a Naughty Dog issue because money management moves usually is done by them, right? And I just don't see it. I think they made too good of a game. Does that sound like copium? Maybe let me rephrase that. I think they made a game to where it's hard for them to profit off of. And at the end of the day, that's what a games as a service is. It's built to leech money off of you. That's just how it's built. And I think they don't know how to build a game like that, or they just don't know how to profit off a game like that, right? I think that's the case. And good. Me as a fan of single player games myself, yeah, yeah, get back to single player. Matter of fact, show me a trailer of the next game you doing, whatever the game is, whether it's Last of Us 3 or some other shit. Show me a trailer, I'll forget all about this. I'm not gonna front, I will forget all about this because I'm not a factions type of dude like that anyways. I enjoy it, but I'm lukewarm towards it. It's give or take. Like I don't really give a fuck about factions for real. So if you show me a trailer for some new shit, I'll forget about this. It's just the way y'all broke it to motherfuckers is what I don't believe, and somewhat kind of like disheartened me as a fan slash a businessman. Like I like, bro, y'all gotta lie better than that. There's no way that's the lie y'all going with, is that y'all just now came to realize that you would not be able to support both single player games and games as a service. You would have realized that years and years ago. Years and years ago you would have figured that out, because years and years ago you had to put a plan together on how you're going to deliver this game to the public and then profit off of it. I don't know if you ever sit around in a sales meeting or any type of business venture moving forward, but those are like the first, not the first conversation, but one of the first conversations you would have is, how do we profit off of it? How? You know what I mean? How can we make money off of this shit that we are producing? And I don't think they cracked the code on how to do it. Really, they should have like start out small. In my opinion, they shouldn't start out with so many games as a service. I think they should start out with a couple and learn by trials and error. And that's to be honest with you, that's the best way to do it, to learn by trials and error. And it would cost millions to learn through trial and error, but that's the best way to learn. They should have started with a few small companies. I mean, a few small games as a service, see what works, see what don't, and then you put out your magnum opus, games as a service game. That's how I feel about it. I'm not even upset that it's canceled because it's not like I was looking out like for it like crazy. I would have copped it if it came out, but it's just not something I'm looking out for. What I am upset about when it comes to like Sony first party is just we just don't know shit about their first party shit. This is one of the things we knew, and then now it's not even happening. So now it's just down to Wolverine, which is sad, bro. Can you imagine that shit? That's some sad shit. Think about this shit. Of all, and I do mean all of Sony's studios, right? All of Sony's developers and shit. The only game that I know that is in development, that's being worked on, that will come out is Wolverine, which is nuts. Wolverine, from the same motherfuckers that bought you Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, all within the last 4 years. Them motherfuckers that have been slaving to death for Sony, and the next game that that's coming from Sony is also their game. We don't know shit from fucking no other studios for real. What's up, Black Frost? I appreciate it, man. That's where I think my frustration is more than factions, because I don't give a fuck about factions for real like that. You know what I mean? It's more about just not having that information. And like I said, man, as a consumer and a business person, I'm like, this is not how you treat your client base. No, this is definitely not how you treat to keep mothers completely in the dark, because that's basically what they did with you with factions, right? Boy, I would show up at Insomniac Games and choke the shit out of the director of that game if it's a point and click game, bro. The fuck out of here. No, I mean, look, that's basically what it's been like, right? Factions is basically what Sony first party felt like to me all this time for the last couple years. We get nothing, right? We get no information. What's up, post up, still Rodney's son? It's a wild ass name, bro. But you know what I mean? We have no information on factions for years and years. This picture that's on my fucking screen is the only thing, you know what I'm saying, that we know about the game for real until it's been canceled. It's crazy. We actually know more about the game once it's canceled than when it's during development. That's crazy, right? We even know what the start screen looked like in this bitch. but now we know more. But when it was in development, we ain't know shit. And that's like with everything with Sony right now. We don't know shit, and that bothers me. Like I was telling y'all, man, I do concur with a lot of things that Extreme be saying. Do that be on Porter Rock's podcast. But the one thing he said that I don't agree with, both as a consumer and someone in marketing, is that he said hype is for children. You a grown man, buy it when it come out, right? Now, partially I agree because I'm a grown man. I will buy it when it comes out. But part of me just, the overwhelming majority of me don't agree. And the overwhelming majority of me don't agree because I'm in marketing, and hype is free marketing. Not only is it free marketing, it is the highest level of marketing, because hype build more hype. You know what's crazy? Like I told you, I don't play turn-based games, JRPGs and shit like that for real. I copped Tales of Arise. You know why? Because you motherfuckers are hyped for it. Because Sick Humor was hyped for it. Because Thrash is hyped for it. Because Stone was hyped for it. You feel me? Got. And they were like, you should play that shit. If you like stories, motherfucker, you play it. All right, man. All right. You know what I'm saying? Copped it. I'm about to start it. I just didn't want to start it right away. I've actually been on vacation. I was in Florida for a whole week, mad as fuck at Florida because it's cold as fuck in Florida when I was there. And it's not cold, don't get me wrong. It's cold for Florida. I was in that bitch, and the warmest it got was like 70 something. I'm like, this is not it, Florida. You know what I'm saying? How am I going to leave my cold ass home to come to you, and you are like 7 degrees higher than where I was at? This is not what I was. It's not what I signed up for, man. I was in West Palm Beach, and that bitch was 74 degrees during the day, and it got cold as shit at night. I'm like, this is not all right. This is not all right. Yeah, but yeah, I've been out, man. That's why I haven't done shit regularly. I'm getting back to. I actually need to do a lot more. I need to holler at some people about some graphics and whatnot because I don't really enjoy this basic shit I got in the background for y'all. I'm gonna try to do better than that. I'm gonna put some shit together. But yeah, man, I find it I find it amazing that they don't create hype. You know what I mean? Hype is free marketing. Not only is it free marketing, it's the strongest marketing that you can imagine. Just one teaser trailer, right? Just one teaser trailer about some that just catch enough motherfuckers' attention, right? And that shit's infectious. That motherfucker would infect everyone else with the hype that they have. That's how it works. That's why it's important. And yeah, PlayStation's selling very well. I see it. I just don't like to talk about NPDs because for what? You know what I'm saying? For what? Oh, Xbox lose again this shit. Like, well, no shit. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? What is there to like? I haven't count MPD since last generation, like since mid last generation. Because for what? The only reason why you even look at MPD is to know if the product that you bought are alive and healthy, that other motherfuckers are purchasing it, that other motherfuckers are enjoying it, so there will be more content available for you. Well, I look at it selfishly. That's what I do it for. And then after last mid generation last year, I was like, for what? You know what I'm saying? It's not about winning. That motherfucker been winning. And I don't even like. I don't even look at Xbox like that no more. I just don't care for it. You know what I mean? But there is something I do care about. Let's talk about Blade, right? Let's talk about Blade. I am a Blade fan. I'm not like a huge Blade fan. Like I don't know Blade like that. You know what I mean? Compared to like all the other Marvel shit. My favorite Marvel shit, of course, is the X-Men, right? Then is Spider-Man. And it's not really much else. But Blade is up there. Is he top 10 on my list? He might be. He might be in the low end of the top 10, but he might be there. You know what I mean? So while I was on vacation, the Games Award happened, so I missed the whole show. I wasn't even here for that bitch. Like, I was gone. I was in Florida, cursing out Florida for being cold. You know what I mean? But I came back right, and I missed the whole show, and I just went to look at trailers because that's the first thing I look at from every fucking um shit. Was it like there's a couple of trailers that I really like. The one with the robot chick, that shit look crazy. Like the cyberpunk looking Asian bitch with the robot helmet, whatever. She fighting robots and shit and saving robots. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm with it. Like I was like, I need to see what kind of game this is. Is this a third person shooter? Is this a first person shooter? The lore seemed crazy. I'm with it, right? Um, Berserker, was it Rise of the Berserker or the first Berserker or some shit? It looks like an anime Souls like almost. It almost looked like that. Maybe I'm just reading into it, but it looks almost like an anime Souls shit. I'm with that. Um, there's a couple of other shit, man. I don't know. I don't remember all of them, but there's a couple of shit I see that I like. And then they said, "Oh, there's a Blade game." I'm like, "Word? Xbox finally got something I give a fuck about, right?" And boy, I click on that trailer, man, and it did not. It didn't do it for me. And here's the thing, right? I was going back and forth with Supernova, and he the homie, right? Don't get it twisted. Supernova is the homie, but that motherfucker, people think he an asshole, but that's the nicest motherfucker I've ever seen. That motherfucker give every game a chance, even against his own fucking better judgment. He'll give a game a chance, boy. Because when I looked at it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Right? This is not the Blade game I was expecting. You know what I was expecting? I was expecting like a really gritty and visceral Devil May Cry. You know what I'm saying? I'm like really gritty and visceral. Like I'm talking about like this motherfucker's doing flips and shit, and this motherfucker's like cutting motherfuckers open, slashing motherfuckers in half, and that type of shit, right? And Supernova was like, well, you don't know what the game looked like at all because this is a teaser trailer. All you see was this motherfucker at the barbershop getting a haircut. And I'm like, true, right? But first impression is everything. And I understand the trailer, what they was trying to go with. It was still kind of daylight out. There's like the calm before the storm, right? This motherfucker is chilling, get a haircut. It's about to get dark. Shit's about to go crazy, right? But the art style of it, and I'm just looking at it, I'm like, I'm not feeling this art style. This doesn't scream. It can't be gritty because look at the art style. It can't be. You know what I mean? How could it be how could it be dark, gritty, and visceral when this is the art style? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Right? But that motherfucker's, like I said, that's the nicest motherfucker ever. People think he an asshole. That motherfucker nice as shit. He'll give any game the benefit of a doubt, even against his better judgment. Because let's be real, what's the percentage? What's the over and under? Do you think that this motherfucker is gonna be a gory ass, gritty, fucking visceral, like ass game where this motherfucker is chopping limbs off, chopping necks off? You know what I'm saying? Chopping necks in half and shit. Like, what's the chances of all that shit happening? That shit look like a PG-13 game to me. I mean, I'm just saying, it looks like a PG-13 game to me. It don't look, and people's like, well, you don't know, it could be gory. I'm like, come on, man, come on, man. Come on, and I don't need to be ultra realistic either, but there's certain art style because Berserk is an anime, well, not an anime, it's a manga, right? And that shit, even though it's a manga, is not fucking anything less. It's nothing less than gritty and fucking raw as fuck, right? That's what I was hoping for. I don't need it to be ultra realistic. I need it to be gritty and fucking crazy. You know what I mean? And I just don't see it. I was really thinking it's gonna be like a really like it's maybe it's my bias because I've always envisioned a Blade game. And I thought Blade would make one of the better characters to do a game with because some 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 superheroes are just so OP that it's really hard to do. It's the best game superheroes should be like street level. You know what I mean? That's why Spider-Man works. That's why Wolverine works. They're not Superman level type of, you know what I mean? They're not the Sentry type motherfuckers where they fly around, have no pain. You know what I mean? It's not enjoyable to live through their existence because motherfucker, goddamn, one of my Spider-Man could be put down with a bullet. You know what I mean? And speaking of which, I know this. I'm a rant about Spider-Man later, like on the next show, but I need to get this off my chest. Both Josh, Thrash, and I forgot who else. There's one other motherfuckers that has brought this to my attention, and and I think they out they damn mind for even bringing this up. One of the problems they have with Spider-Man is that the physics of the game allow him to stay in the air too long, and I'm like, I'm playing as Spider-Man, motherfucker. You want me to fuck with actual real physics? You want this motherfucker to like, bro? I'm playing as Spider-Man, not fight on the ground, man. All right, the fuck is you? No, keep me in the air, bro. Like the fuck. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like it will ruin my shit if like I have to constantly worry about falling to the ground as Spider-Man while I'm doing combos mid-air. Like even Dante keep in the air, motherfucker. Like what are you? You know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? It's a video game about a motherfucker. Well, two motherfuckers They got bitten by spiders. Now they swing around their cities like yo-yos. Spiders don't even do that. The fuck, like you know what I mean? You gotta like figure out where to draw the line when it comes to realistic and enjoyable shit. Because if it's realistic to where every time Peter hops, he lands immediately, fuck this game. Motherfucker, I'm trying to play a Spider-Man, not dude that fucking is fucking have to deal with gravity ass motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? Why would I want to play a game about a superhero and deal with actual real life physics? Like, who? Name me a game with actual real life physics to anything besides from a sim, besides from like GT. You know what I'm saying? Because it really do feel like you be driving a car if you in the VR with the whole with the you know what I'm saying with the wheel and everything. You really would be like you pushing a skyline right now. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about just video games in general. Like it's not supposed to make sense. Kratos is the god of war. He can't clear 6 feet. You gotta wait for his son to fucking kick down a chain. You know what I mean? Like you would ruin every game if you go into it like that. You know what I mean? You would ruin every game for yourself. This motherfucker's a god. He can't clear 6 feet. Ain't that a bitch? I know humans that could do that. I know regular ass humans that could clear 6, 7, 10 feet. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, fast, and in a hurry. But I don't know what you mean. This motherfucker's a god. You gotta like lift his son up so his son can run up there, grab the chain, kick it down to him. And you know what? One of the best thing that the original like that movie tie-in Wolverine game, Wolverine Origins game did that was so clever was like there's parts of like the whole facility, right? It's made out of antimentium. The part where he got captured. I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was pretty clever. That's why you couldn't cut through everything because shit's made out of antimentium, right? But at the same time, when you're outside there, you can't cut through everything, right? Because it's still at the end of the day, it's a game. You know what I mean? Like, what you mean this door is locked? This motherfucker's Wolverine. There's no such thing as a locked door to Wolverine. Like, what the fuck do you mean? But that just wouldn't work. In a video game setting, that's video games rules. Just like Kratos, as a god, can't clear fucking 10 feet. You know what I'm saying? He could in cutscenes. You know what I'm saying? When he's fighting and shit, that motherfucker got mad hops in cutscenes. But when you controlling this motherfucker can't clear 10 feet. You know what I mean? So yes, I appreciate this floating mechanic when Spider-Man, when you Spider-Man, you swinging around and fighting motherfuckers, you can stay in the air for a whole fight. Because it's stupid if that's not the case. I'm not trying to fuck with real life physics. The fuck out of here. It's just I don't know. I don't know how we got to that, but oh yeah. Blade, right? I just don't see that art style lending itself to gritty, raw, visceral fucking gameplay. I don't. I mean, at best it'll be some cartoony ass blood. Look at that shit, man. It looks like and motherfuckers like, well, it's like uh it's like into the Spider Verse art. I'm like, the hell it is. You know how intricate Into the Spider Verse is when it comes to like art. There's layers and layers and layers, dots and lines and dots and lines and circles and dots and squares, triangles and lines. It's incredible amount of fucking detail in that bitch. But let's just say it is. Let's just say it is Spider Verse art. Really? That's what we going with? We going with Spider Verse art for Blade, motherfucker? How gory can that art style be? Maybe they could pull it off, make it really gory. I just don't see it. I just don't, and it just turns me off. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe when we see some gameplay, it'll be different. Maybe I should be like Supernova and give this motherfucker a chance, right? But it's like it's hard. Like just think about this shit. Just think if they did like a Games of Thrones type of game, right? and it's done in Care Bear aesthetics. How many of y'all grown enough to even know what Care Bears is? Y'all know what Care Bears is? See, when I was real young, there was like toys and a cartoon called Care Bears. And that's what it seems like to me. Like that's basically like you making a blood sport game made with Care Bears fucking art. Like and you think that I shouldn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? I, I, I don't know what to tell you. It looks garbage, which is fucked up because when I heard about Blade, I was hyped as fuck. I was actually I think on my way back to I was at the airport and I just like sitting around and motherfuckers I don't even care about the game awards like that. I don't even know who won what. I know Baldur's Gate won. I know that. You feel me though, Jeff? Like, come on, man. Like, if you look at and I know a lot of motherfuckers' knowledge of Blade is superficial. They know Blade from that one movie with Wesley Snipes in it. And I will say this: after that Wesley Snipes movie, I anything that I ever read Blade say, I read it in Wesley Snipes' voice. But I know Blade way before that movie. The first time I know Blade is the Spider-Man cartoon from back in the day. Y'all remember that? From the 90s cartoon. That's the first time I heard of Blade, right? And I've read this and that, but I was never a real big Blade fan. But apparently, I know more about Blade than everybody that was it was 6 podcasts this morning. I always couldn't name 3 villains, which is fucked up because the first villain's so easy. Frost. Frost was in the movie, even though the comic book Frost is really different than the one in the movie. The one in the movie is too young and vibrant for the comic book version, old as fuck. His own mama is his villain. I don't know if y'all know that. Dracula is his whole villain. There's another dude, Dracoon or some shit like that. There's another dude that names just sounds just like Dracula, but he's not Dracula. There's Lady Bellevue or some nonsense. I mean, I can name a couple, but I'm not a real big Blade fan, right? But I am a Blade fan. I mean, he's a cool character. Like when I was on the round table and I said he like a black Dante, right? And I don't mean that like power level wise because Dante would smack the shit out of Blade all day, every day. I'm just talking about like thematically. You know what I mean? This motherfucker's a half breed. He hunts one half of his breed. You know what I'm saying? Like that motherfucker's a demon. He half demon, half human. He hunts demon. This motherfucker's half human, half vampires. He hunt vampires. Got a sword, right? Pistols, smart ass one liners. You know what I mean? The Black Dante. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Trench coat. You feel me? Come on, man. I mean, come on, man. Like, I thought it was gonna be like a gritty ass fucking Devil May Cries, or at least something like a Ninja Gaiden, which probably would make more sense. Punisher, yeah, I would think so. I think Punisher would be a fire ass third person shooter or first person, but I prefer third person. You know what I'm saying? I think Punisher would make a great third person shooter. And let Naughty Dog do it. They said they want to do it, let them do it. I think it would be fire if they do it. Punisher always lead to like good ass stories too. One of my favorite ones where I think he chopped this lady's arms and legs off and kept her alive and shit. It's just wild. Like Punisher is a wild ass character, man. But I don't know if he would make a better uh, video game than Blade, man, because Blade got a lot going for him as a video game character. Like I said, this motherfucker is literally just a black Dante. He could maybe not as ridiculous or an over the top. He's quote unquote more serious than Dante. right? But I mean, Blade is cool, man. Like I think a Blade game would be amazing. And you know what? Most motherfuckers don't realize is Blade doesn't use a katana. I hate when motherfuckers call it a katana. It's not a katana. Blade uses a double-edged, like Chinese wushu sword, bro. You ever notice that shit? Motherfuckers always call it a katana. It's not. The movie actually got it right, which is crazy. I really thought the movie would have fucked it up. But there's so many versions of Blade that uses a katana. I'm like, motherfucker, he does not use a katana. I don't know why that upsets me so much. I'm like, motherfucker, no, he used a wushu sword. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know why that shit bothers me, but that shit bothers me. You know what? Usually, with video game, like comic book characters, video games, that type of shit bothers me. Motherfuckers out here tripping that, that Spider Man's girlfriend's not hot enough. Well, I'm sitting here looking at it like, hey, dog, why do you have the black suit on and you still shooting webs the same way you do normally with the two fingers on your palm shit? You ain't supposed to do that. You Venom, you got the whole Venom symbiote on you. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to shoot it out. The symbiote's supposed to make the web, but you could just shoot it out that little white spot on you. You know what I mean? Like that type of shit is what fucks me up. Like I don't give a fuck about what this motherfucker's girlfriend look like. Are you crazy? I'm trying to save New York. But shit like that does bother me to where like when you have the Venom symbiote on you and you still shooting webs the same way you would. The web is black, yes, but you're still shooting it through your mechanical web shooters, which you didn't have to do. This motherfucker suit's supposed to. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? That's the type of shit that I get mad at when I play video games about superheroes. Y'all motherfuckers out here talking about it's woke. Like, shut your ass up. What's woke about it? I don't even get it. Like, yes, this bitch can fucking shoot a fucking. You know what? I believe that. I believe that way more than a random white dude going to Thailand, meet some ancient old ass Asian motherfucker that so happened to like him, and is also a master of Muay Thai and taught this motherfucker how to be the greatest Muay Thai motherfucker of all time through random ass fucking exercises, and then he beat the greatest Muay Thai motherfuckers of all time, Bolo. If you believe that shit, you could believe this bitch learned from Silver Sable all this shit and is capable of taking down these motherfuckers. I'm sorry. I mean, y'all believe Tom Cruise can become proficient with dual wielding katanas? You know what I'm saying? Y'all believe Tom Cruise could be proficient at dual wielding katanas after attending samurai boot camp for a summer? And when you don't believe that this little white girl in her comic book world, this comic book character in her comic book world couldn't pick up a couple moves from one of the baddest bitch in her universe with a stun gun that her boyfriend put a sonic pulse into. You telling me y'all don't believe that, but you could believe Tom Cruise could be a samurai within one summer. Not just a samurai. This motherfucker could dual wield katanas. Do you know how hard it is to dual wield katanas? That's a whole nother discipline from just wielding katanas. You know what I'm saying? Have y'all ever held a real katana in your fucking life? It's scary as fuck. It's scarier than holding a 9mm. Because when a 9mm is in your hand, all you gotta do is put that bitch on safety. And you straight. When you hold an unsheathed fucking sword, when you hold an unsheathed fucking katana, a weapon made to slice other motherfuckers, it's almost like, you ever hear the expression Asian people use where there's a lot of saki in it, which is like a killing intent. Y'all hear that a lot, right? When you hold a katana, you can almost feel the killing intent within the blade, right? Because you're holding a 6 foot blade. One false move, if you turn wrong, you just slice your own kneecap off. It's fucking terrifying. And you mean to, like, motherfuckers would actually have to go through training. You feel me? Motherfuckers have to go through months, even years of training just to take the blade out of the sheath. And this motherfucker dual wielding katanas after like fucking samurai boot camp. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You believe that shit. You don't believe Spider-Man girlfriend can take down a couple of symbiote with a gun built to take down symbiotes. Is that what you're telling me? Motherfucker, give me that gun. I could take down symbiotes too. Look over, it makes her more powerful than Spider-Man. No shit. Do you know who Spider-Man is? He's the type of motherfucker that pull his punches so he don't kill nobody. He's trying to save these people that are in these symbiote suits. He's not trying to kill them. He probably could if he swung on them for real, for real. He'll murder these people. And this bitch is defenseless. She goes down in one or two hits. She would shoot your ass with this fucking pulse fucking blast that doesn't kill you, but is strong as fuck against it. It makes sense. It makes sense to me. It makes sense that this bitch went through a country that's going through civil war and learned from one of the best. Alright, after months of that shit, and got enough moves to take down hunters, and got a weapon built specifically for symbiotes to take down symbiotes. Yes, I believe all that shit way more than I believe Tom Cruise can be proficient with two katanas at the same time. It's hard enough to hold one in your hands, dude. If you don't even know how to hold it properly, you'll fuck yourself up. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, bro, like hold. I promise you, if y'all ever go and hold a katana, like a real one, not one of those prop shit, because you're not gonna feel it. When you hold a real one, a real fucking 6 foot blade in your hands, bro, just turning around requires discipline because it's terrifying. You make one false move, you chopping someone's limb off, you chopping your own foot off. You know what I'm saying? It's serious. Everything is with a purpose when you have a blade in your hand like that. It's not the same as holding a machete, because I can hold a machete all day and not trip, but it's something about holding a katana is fucking terrifying because you just don't know what you're doing. It's built for motherfuckers that have been practicing their whole life to live with a fucking blade on their fucking side. Like that's just what they do. It becomes a part of them. That's why they make it look so good. You are not learning how to do that within a couple of years, let alone a fucking summer vacation. The fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But somehow that's normal. That's not woke or anti woke or any of that. This shit here is woke. Really, really, dog. Really, you want me to believe that shit? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't subscribe to that shit at all. I bruh, Lionel, bruh, you have no idea. All right, like a real katana, right? If you turn it upside down and you drop a piece of paper on it, the piece of paper will get sliced in half. Is that sharp? It's insanely sharp, bro. And there's a certain amount of weight to it. It makes you feel almost like you want to swing it. You don't, but it makes your body want to. It's because the sword is built to be swung. You know what I mean? So you constantly feel like you're swinging the blade forward, even though you're not trying to. And you want me to believe this little ass white dude just learned how to do that within a summer? Not just learn how to do it, but be one of the best with dual wielding katana. Do y'all know who Musashi is? I'm pretty sure y'all heard of that name. But the reason why Musashi is so famous is because he's good at using dual wielding. It's a whole discipline that took him his whole life. That's why he's so famous. Well, that and also he's a really good tactician, right? But he's one of the few that can dual wield katanas. That's why he's so famous to this day. And you telling me that shit with Tom Cruise is possible? Mary Jane, there's no way. Why? Because she's a girl? Because she's an unattractive girl to your ass? You know what I'm saying? Really, just imagine being a badass hunter and get taken down by this little. Yeah, I can imagine. I could. She was trained by Silver Sable. What the fuck you want? See, I knew a motherfucker named the Bathosai would know some shit about the Book of Five Rings. Yeah, but Musashi's a bad motherfucker, man. Right? It's like that's you would never catch me complaining about stupid shit like that. You would see me complain about even more stupid shit, like why is Spider-Man shooting webs out of his wrist with using the I love you fucking, you know what I'm saying, hand gesture to do that when he's in a symbiote suit. He shouldn't be. The symbiote's supposed to be making the webs from there on out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of shit that fucked me up. All the geeky shit that comes with like comic book shit. That shit bothered me. And let me tell you about Spider-Man 2, right? And we about to get off here because I've been on like an hour and a half, and I was expecting to be on here for only about an hour. But the ending of Spider-Man and motherfuckers tripping, talking about, oh, they trying to phase him out. They trying to, the motherfucker, his retirement is going to last all the way up until Spider-Man 3. You must be out your mind if you think that Green Goblin is going to be in this bitch and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, would not be involved. Here's how Spider-Man 2, and y'all see how crazy it is that I always get storylines correct, right? I predicted that the mural that you see is not Kratos, that's Odin lying in Atreus' arms, and guess the fuck what? If y'all played it, y'all seen it, right? And motherfuckers from the round table can't say I didn't say that shit. I said that shit on the round table many times. I think that's Odin right there laying there, right? Came true. I said Harry's gonna be Venom. Harry's Venom. And you know why I'm good at predicting these type of stuff? Because like I told you, I love video games and the stories they tell. And after a while, you kind of like be able to connect stories if you know enough stories. Because you start seeing all the similarities between one stories to another. Because as I understand, there's only 7 stories ever told. It's just been retold a billion times with different characters and whatnot, but it's just the same 7 stories, right? Spider-Man 3 is going to happen in 2 ways. You'll start out with being Miles both times, though. And it's either Peter will hop into the game very early, like probably within the first 3 hours of the game, Peter hop back into the game because, Octopus is on the loose again, Green Goblin showing up, a bunch of other motherfuckers showing up. You gotta remember, there will come a time when Miles need help. You know what I'm saying? They even said that shit. There'll come a time, and Peter's like, "Yeah, I'm here for you." That's Spider-Man 3. So I don't know why motherfuckers even tripping at all about that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even tripping. Peter's gonna be in that bitch. It's either he's gonna be in that bitch early or he's gonna be through, like coming in midway. Like you'll play Miles for a solid 10, 15 hours, and then they got too real for him to handle on his own, and then Peter shows up to help him, or he has to come to Peter and ask for help. And it's more likely that Peter's gonna show up for help. It's gonna be kind of like that moment where Peter was trying to save the people off of the little roller coaster, right? And then Harry show up out of nowhere and save, you know what I'm saying, help him out. I think something like that will happen while you're playing as Miles and you just over your head. There's some wild shit just happening, you can't handle it, and then out of nowhere, Peter show up and help you, and from there on out, you switching back and forth as Peter and Miles again. And maybe they throw the poster girl for sexualizing Asian women on that bitch. April Moon, yeah, boy. What's crazy? I don't know much about April Moon besides from that one comic line where her and Peter just cannot stop fucking. And I'm like, dog, this is softcore porn, man. This is not. I'm like, how come you don't do no white Spider Girl like that? You gotta do the Asian one like that. Really, dog? Oh, really? They share the same spider DNA, so they just can't stop fucking each other, huh? All right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. This bitch in the Ada Wong are like the poster girls for fetishizing Asian bitches. Jesus. Chill. Miles Morales 2? No, there will be no Miles Morales 2 because Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Why would he have his own Miles Morales game? It's just Spider-Man from here on out. In Spider-Man 3, there's no Miles Morales 2. People say that, but I don't know how much that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how much that really would work in a game, and I don't know if I would have enjoyed or not really. I don't know if I would enjoy that. Where you know what I'm saying? I don't know if motherfucker would enjoy the fact that uh we can co-op because But when it comes to video games, man, I hate depending on other people. And when it's co-op, sooner or later, sooner or later, motherfuckers gonna be like, you want to try to do something, and the motherfuckers you co-oping with ain't trying to do it. And you know what I mean? Shit like that. You trying to do this combo, and that motherfucker's just not with it. You trying to go left, this motherfucker's going right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much complications to co-op. Maybe there should be like certain modes that allow you to co-op, like certain little snippets and shit. But I don't know if co-op's a good idea completely. I don't know. I'm not a game dev. Maybe it could make sense. I just seen it seemed like it's a little bit too sporadic to make it work when it's two motherfuckers that control each Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Because what if what if the prompt shows up for you to press where and you press where and your boy don't, and it just fucks shit up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, that the way they did Devil May Cry, it could work, I guess. I need to turn that bitch off. I hate when motherfuckers show up in my game. I ain't gonna front. I'm trying to style your ass over here. You know what I'm saying? Like I might just have to shut that bitch off, man. I don't think I want to do it no more. But yeah, man, I think that's good. That's an hour and 40 minutes. I think we good, man. I'm gonna hop out. I'll do a real one, like a 2 hour long one at least on Sunday. I usually prefer to do it Sunday because that's the day I have the most energy. You know what I'm saying? I'll be exhausted throughout the week, man. I'll be working and doing all this other shit right around 8 9 o'clock. I don't want to do shit except play video games. So I'll probably run one again Sunday on the other shit. I just wanted to talk about this Last of Us faction cancellation because I was more mad about how they broke the news to us than anything else. I'm like, really, motherfucker? It took you that many years in development to realize you couldn't do single player and provide content for this game as a service shit. Who the fuck are you kidding? Like, you don't know this years ago? That's all I'm saying. There's no way. No way you didn't know this years ago. I just think you don't know how, or you just can't capitalize off of it. So fuck it. Is how I see it. I don't even think it's like motherfuckers just show up and say, you know what, we canceling this whole shit, right? I don't think it's Sony showing up to do that because Sony's about that money. If they could make it work, they'd make it work. And not having the manpower to do so is ridiculous. You feel me? It's ridiculous. Fuck out of here. But all right, man. I'll see y'all next one. I appreciate y'all coming through. 20 views, 20 likes, goddamn. You know what I mean? I appreciate all the love, man, for real. I'll see y'all Sunday. I'll try to be probably around 9 or so. But yeah, man, y'all take it easy. It's fucking late as fuck. I'm gonna take my ass to bed.